So, the Season 8 Apex Legends update has brought a lot of new players to the game, and a lot of people have been looking for the ranking listings of the Apex Legends. Now, I'm just going to preface this is only for competitive. This is for rank play, scrims, or if you just want to be a sweaty pub player. This is not going to include any of the legends that are not used in competitive. Now, first off, I've got my baby girl Horizon. Now, this is sort of towards only being used in Kings Canyon, but she is being used a lot in Kings Canyon, so that's why I'm putting her into S tier. She can get you up into a lot of places, onto a lot of rocks, cliffs. If you aren't familiar with Horizon, you can throw her suck portal onto a team and suck them into it. Use nades on the portal and then nade her, as I do in the second clip. You can also use her to teleport up and to get to a higher area, like these people were already at a higher area. Now, the thing that makes me love Horizon the most is actually her movement. If you did not know, she does not take fall damage. If you've ever used any other character, you notice when you fall from a high distance, you get that like sunk in the mud feeling. Horizon does not get that. Horizon just lands and she does not take any fall repercussions. So you can slide off of mountains, just slide anywhere and hit the ground and immediately hit slide again, and her movement is much more fluent than any other character. Now, her Q did get a nerf this season, but it's only about 5 seconds, and you really can't tell that much of a difference. You just have to use the Q a little bit more, useful than before. You can also use the Q to get away from people if you want to just Q up onto it and pop a battery, or Q up onto it and fly away. That's the best way to use it in a passive stance. Overall, Horizon is a fan favorite, and she actually had the highest win rate of any legend last season, and I'm sure it'll probably be that way this season. Next up, we have Bloodhound. Now, Bloodhound is a fan favorite. He's in almost every single ranked Q. His passive allows you to see footsteps and enemy tracking. His Q allows you to use a vision pulse that temporarily highlights people through walls. And his ultimate, Beast of the Hunt, lights up the enemies red and allows you to use his Q very frequently. Not to mention, his Q also shows traps through walls, so anybody that's using Caustic, it will show you that there's Caustic traps inside before you push into a building and get hit by those. If you're using Beast of the Hunt, you can also see through the Caustic gas with it and see the red outlines of the players inside the building if he drops his ultimate. Also, if you have the Beast of the Hunt pops, you can see through Bangalore smoke, and he can scan a survey beacon and see every zone before it pops. Overall, from a competitive standpoint, Bloodhound is a very good legend to use. Bloodhound isn't too crazy, but he is a very capable and very viable legend, so I give him S tier as well, especially towards the competitive standpoint, and I'm sure he'll be useful for seasons to come as far as competitive. Next up, we have Gibby. Now, Gibraltar, he has a arm shield that when deployed will soak up 50 damage, but it's actually kind of cool how if his shield has 1 damage left on it and you get hit by a Kraber which does 125 damage, it still soaks up the entire Kraber shot, so it is extremely effective if used correctly. Now, you'll notice when you ADS, that's when Gibby's arm shield comes up, and he gets his arm shield back about every 9 seconds. He will regenerate the shield. Now, you almost always see Gibby used in competitive play because of his dome shield and his ultimate. What people generally do is give the gold bag, the gold backpack to a Gibby and let him res in his bubble, because if Gibby has a gold backpack, or if anybody on your squad has a gold backpack, when you res a person with a gold backpack, it will regen health and shield. Also, if you get put into a bad situation and you're trapped inside of a building with a team pushing you, you can drop his ultimate and it will launch the missile strike around the building. Or if you're in your bubble, you can also use the ultimate the exact same way. Now, his bubble lasts 15 seconds, so that gives you long enough to heal or pop a battery, pop a Phoenix kit, res a teammate, anything like that. It is extremely effective. You can also use it in a defensive way to throw it towards the team to block incoming bullets if you have to push a team. Overall, Gibby is extremely effective. The only downsides of him is that he's very slow and he's very big, so he's an easy target for teams, and you will probably get focused 9 times out of 10 if a team starts shooting at you. I still give him an S tier though, because everything about him just is extremely OP if you can get used to using it and get good with it. And there's a reason he's always used in competitive play. That's because he's just overall a very good play as a legend. Now, do you honestly think I could go this entire time without adding Wraith as the last one to the S tier? Now, she did take a nerf last season. She got her hitbox a little bit stretched, but she's still one of the best characters in the game, no matter how many times she's been nerfed. Now, her phasing allows you to avoid any and all damage for 3 seconds. Even the gas damage. Now, they did also give that a nerf a while back, and it does take a 1.25 second delay before you go into the void. But there's a little workaround to that. If you have a portal and you're in a really bad spot, hit the portal and then go into the void, and it's instant. There's no delay. Just keep in mind that when you come out of it, you're eventually going to have to drop that portal, and if you portal from a team, then they can go through it and chase you. However, most of the time in competitive play, the portal is used to get from point A to point B. So if you're in a building and the zone is not with you, your Wraith can run out, hit her portal from inside the building, go out, go into the void, and then come back and pour the zone is, making her overall one of the best players in the game, and 98% of the time you will see her used in competitive, mainly only for the portal. Now next up we have Lifeline. Now Lifeline is not one that's used in competitive much, but she is good for rank. By no means is she an offensive legend, she's just a passive legend, but she's extremely useful if you do know how to use her. If you're playing as Lifeline and your teammate goes down, you can click the player with F or whatever your key is, and then it insta starts healing them with a shield that gets put up, and you can also use the shield in an offensive way. Side note, here's a clip of a Lifeline absolutely getting worked on when she tried to use her shield in that way. She also has a healing bot that she can drop that will heal your entire team, which is extremely useful. When she opens the blue crates, the blue pods, she gets more heals out of it than any other player will. And she can drop a care package that has armor and heals in it as well. Overall, if you want to be a supportive teammate and you don't think you're that good, she is the character to pick. So I'm still going to give her an A. A lot of people probably won't like this, but I'm putting Caustic into A, and the only reason that I'm putting him into A is I do not think that he is as useful as people think that he is. Yes, before you come for my neck, he is broken, I will agree, but he's not as broken as he was last season. Back in last season, if you didn't play, when Caustic dropped his altar, when he filled a room with gas with his gas pods, his gas did not go away when he died, but now when he gets finished, his gas goes away, making him not as broken as he was. Yes, he is still broken, but he is not as broken as he was. Not to mention, unless you get posted up in a building and you have zoned, it's really not that hard to kill a Caustic. King's Canyon being as open as it is, you don't see him as frequently in competitive now as you did before. Basically, if you don't know how Caustic works, he drops traps that set off and they deploy gas. He can drop about 6 traps on the map before your old traps start deleting when you drop new traps. Meaning if you've thrown down 6 traps and you throw down a new trap, your first trap will then go away. Also, if you're playing against Caustic and you want to get rid of the traps, you can set them off by shooting them, or you can shoot the bottom of them and they will disappear. Now his ultimate is a gas grenade, and it is pretty OP. It fills an entire building with gas, and you get it every 120 seconds. It deals 6 damage when you first get hit by it, and for every second that you spend in it, it does 1 more, up to 12 damage per second. Overall, he can be a very good legend to use in competitive, you just have to have him in the right scenario, but it does not seem like he is good enough to make it to the S tier to be used all the time like the other characters are. Now Fuse is a weird one. He's new, he's not that bad, but he's not that good, and I don't think you'll see him in high level competitive play, but you do see him at the lower rankings of ranked play, and I do not think that he is that bad, you just have to know how to play him correctly. He can hold 2 grenades in each inventory slot, meaning that he can stack 2 in each slot, just taking up 1 slot. His ultimate is a ring of fire that you shoot at the opposing team, and his tactical is a stun grenade. Now his stun grenade will do up to 50 damage if it does stick a player, and it takes 25 seconds to get. Ring of fire takes 120 seconds to get. It can be launched up to 200 meters away, and it initially does 35 damage and slows the player. Damage persists and ticks of 8 up to 75 damage if you stay in it. It will shred you. Like I said, I don't think we'll see him in high rank competitive play like the Imperial House, Sweet Dreams, that level of play, but in the lower tiers of ranked, he's fun to play with, and he's not that bad. He's not completely useless like other legends. Now onto the B tier, we have Pathfinder. Now Pathfinder actually used to be the ship before he got nerfed into the ground, but now nobody really uses him that much. He's not that useful. His grapple distance isn't that far. You can't really zipline into the places that you used to could, and his hitbox also got enlarged just like Wraith. So after a while, more and more people stopped using him. However, he is still a pretty useful legend in my opinion. You can still use him in the lower rankings, use the grapple to your abilities, you know, use it to get around the map, use the zipline to get into places that most people can't get into. Although Horizon kind of canceled out his zipline, because now you can usually Horizon way faster up to where you could, you know, zipline, and obviously you get Horizon's Q way faster than you get his zipline. But if you're looking for a legend that's fun to play and fun to mess around with in the lower rankings of ranked play or competitive, he's still kind of fun to use. The last on my list, now Octane, I have a lot of friends that use him in the higher rankings. It really is just personal preference if you do want to use him. I know Stormin uses him in the higher rankings of Apex, and he does absolutely amazing with him. But as far as being useful for anything, he really isn't useful for anything. If you're going to use him, you're basically just being selfish as shit towards, you know, being a team player. He has a bounce pad that can launch him towards people. He has the speed boost, which is a needle he sticks in his arm, which gives him a brief boost of speed every couple seconds. But I do see people using him in the higher rankings just to use him for the speed boost that you get for close quarter combat fights. Other than that, he really doesn't do anything for the team or do anything for the rank. But if you want to use him, he's not a bad character. Now, I did want to give a special shout out to Bangalore because I never see her get used, and she's really not that bad, but nobody ever uses her anymore. She has smoke screens that she can throw down. She has a speed boost when she gets aimed at, and she has virtually a bigger and better version of Gibraltar's missile strike, but nobody ever uses her in rank play. Me personally, I don't really enjoy using her that much either, so it may just be because nobody really enjoys using her. Other than that, though, that wraps up my version of the best competitive legends in the new season. Keep in mind, a lot of this is based off of it being King's Canon, and this is also a lot based off of personal preference. There's no statistics behind which one's better, and honestly, it just comes down to personal preference. But if you are new to the game, I encourage you to try out every single legend and see which one fits you the best. Obviously, me personally, I love Horizon. I use Horizon 98% of the time, but not everybody's going to like Horizon, and not everybody's going to like Wraith, but, you know, that's what most of the sweaty TTV kids use. Either way, though, if you made it this deep into the video, I've spent like 3 hours on this video and I'm still not done. I still have to render, thumbnail, all that good stuff. So if you did watch the video, I really would appreciate a like and a sub because it's really hard switching over to a different game. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, I'd really appreciate a like. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace.